This is going to be a VR to Fred S. on sharpening knives. He's having a little problem getting his knife sharp, and I'm going to attempt to help him out. But first, my all-important disclaimer. That's right. I am not skilled in the ways of sharpening a knife or an expert. I'm just going to show you what I've learned over the years from trial and error. So it is important to do your research before you attempt this. Look at other channels, go to websites, and ask other YouTubers. Okay, disclaimer's done. Let's get started. I want to show you a couple of the sharpening options we have. The first options I want to show you is what I call field sharpeners. And this one is made by Smith's. And this is one of the ones I use out in the field. And yes, they do wear out, so I have two of those. The second one is another field sharpener. And this is another one made by Smith's. It's got the fine and the coarse on there. And I think this one's diamond in there. I'm not sure. But the one we will be using, and very important if you want to put an edge on any kind of knife, will be a stone. And this is also made by Smith's. And it's got 3 stones on there. A coarse stone, the medium stone, and the fine stone. And we'll get to this here in a little bit. Let's get this out of the way. And the last item I'd like to show you, this is a leather strap, and this was gifted to me by New American Woodsman. This is what we're going to put the final edge on the knife with. The knife we'll be using will be the cold steel Bushman. There's only one problem. I recently sharpened this, and it is hella sharp. So I'll show you that right quick. Grab a piece of paper here. We're going to have to put some damage to the blade in order for this demonstration to work. Yeah, you're going to might want to turn your heads because this is going to get kind of ugly. And I don't recommend you doing this to your knife. That should do it. Actually looks... I'm impressed. Couldn't put a chip in the darn thing. Alright, but it does feel extremely dull. Let's check. Yep, we made a nice little dull spot here in the middle. I'd definitely say we got a... Yep, right there is where we made a dull spot. Impressively enough though, after banging it on aluminum, we did not put a chip in it. Interesting. So let's get our stone set up. I clear some of these items out of the way. And we're going to need water. This is a Whetstone, so it's very important to keep this stone wet. You can use oil on it too, because it comes with a cutting oil or machine oil. But I much prefer the water because it's a less mess, and you don't have to buy it. Okay, a couple things here. We're going to talk about angles of the blade, which is really important. Here I have a surgical steel blade that is designed to go in what's called a dermatone, and that is a surgically tool. They use that to graft your skin. The reason I'm showing you this is look how steep that blade is. That's probably, I want to say, close to about 12 degrees, and that is just too thin. This is great for surgery, but not great for your knife. Now we're going to pull this one out here, and if you look at the angle on the cold steel, this is at least a between 20 and 30 degree angle, and that way it's a lot more durable and won't chip and get dull as fast as surgical steel. So we're going to compare the two real quick before we get started. If you look at that angle, we'll come down and we're going to look at that angle right there. Okay, let's put a little water on our stone and get started. The purpose of the water is to remove the particles from the knife, and I like to keep this thing drenched. Now we're going to start out with the coarse blade, which normally you don't do unless you're reshaping your edge. If you're just sharpening your knife, you want to use, I'll flip it over here, the medium, and then to tighten it up, you want to go to your fine. So, the next thing you're probably going to ask me is, Bob, what angle are you going to do the knife? I'm going to let the knife edge tell me the angle it wants to be. So I'm going to put it on a stone, and you can feel the edge of the knife when it lines up with the stone. And this is just probably the simplest thing you can do is, now a lot of people say you need to count the strokes, which I guess that's a good idea, but as usual, and you know from a lot of my videos, I pretty much just wing it. I will not be counting the strokes. What I'm doing here is when I've been sharpening it, I've been skipping the edge a little bit on accident, so I'm just going to go through and just even that out a little bit on the stone. Now how you can tell that you're getting materials off here, if you look on the stone, you're going to start to see a little bit of gray matter, which you can see a little bit there and over there. That is the shards coming off the blade. Now it looks like we're ready to move on to the next stone. How you can tell is you'll see how shiny that is and how clean that edge looks, and you're going to run your finger across it. Be careful when you do that though. You'll feel how thin the tip of the edge is. So it is time to flip the stone over. We're moving on to the medium side now. And remember, water is your friend. Keep that stone lubricated. And with this color, you'll be seeing more of the debris come off the knife. Another thing, let the knife do the work. You do not have to apply pressure down on there. Just let the knife do all the cutting for you. And you can hear the difference in the grit. You can start seeing right there the little black and gray. That's the debris coming off the knife. Okay, it's time to flip the stone again, and how I can tell is the knife blade gets even shinier and thinner at the end, and you can put your fingers on there and be careful while doing that, and you can feel how thin the blade edge is starting to come to a fine point. So we're going to flip our stone, and if you can notice all the debris on the stone that's coming off the knife. We're going to go to the fine side, and once again we're going to use a lot more water this time, because we're going to take the chips out of the blade from going several different directions. If you notice, I've been working the end to get it sharp, because every once in a while I'll accidentally lift up, so I'm trying to even that out. And I've been working down here towards the bottom. The goal now is to even this surface out, so this is where it really counts in keeping the blade on the stone as even as possible. And once again, you can hear the difference in the gritting. I do believe we are almost done. Two reasons. One, if you look at the blade, it looks just like a mirror. Two, I just sliced my finger right there and really didn't even notice it until just now. So let's give it the paper test. And what we're looking for is the blade to cut cleanly through the paper and have no hang-ups without poking myself in the finger. There we go. If you notice, we're getting a little bit of a hang-up right here, but we're going to take care of that when we move over to the next phase. So let's get the stone out of the way, and we're going to get the leather strap out. The leather strap is going to clean all the grooves and nicks and the cuts out of it and make it razor sharp. This leather strap was gifted to me by New American Woodsman, and he also sent some polishing compound, a rubbing compound, and I really don't need to put any on there, but we're just going to put just a little bit more. Now it gets even more important on how you hold the blade. First thing is you want to make sure there's no water on it. I do this dry because we're not going to do it very long. So you want to keep the blade on this strap as much as possible. And you don't want to pull anymore because it cuts into the strap. So what you're going to do is you bring it across like this, flip it over, bring it across like that. And the purpose of that is it's going to make that edge even sharper, and if you do have any nicks, cuts, or grooves in there, that's going to take that out. Okay, let's see how we're doing. Oh yeah. If you look at the edge, it is now looking like a mirror. So, clean some debris off there. Let's give it the quick paper test, see how we're doing. Yes, now, the very most important test, and I've been sharpening a lot of knives lately and it kind of looks like my fur is coming off. Let's see if you can actually shave with it, and this is the most important test of all. That would be a yes. Here we go, one more time. You can shave with this knife. It is now sharp and ready for usage. Okay, let's do a quick recap of everything I did here today. It took an hour and 10 minutes to put a razor sharp edge on there. These items are great for field sharpening, but if you want to get a good edge, your best bet is going to go with a Whetstone. I use the Smith's 3-sided stone, but you can use whatever you want. And the key to these is a lot of water. Keep it lubricated, keep the debris off the stone. Then to put the fine-tune the edge, I went with the razor strap. Remember your degree of angles, keep it in between 30 and 20. Anything lower than 20 makes the edge too thin and can chip and break and dull real quick. Have patience, you can do it. The best advice I can give to you is go buy just a cheap throwaway knife, use the heck out of it, and then start practicing on your stone. Remember though, everything I have showed you has been from my experiences. It might not be the right way. So any of you viewers out there that are experienced in knife sharpening, please put your tips down in the comment. It would help other people out. I think this pretty much concludes everything today. Like always, thanks for watching.